Production and cost. Now, I want you to be careful because this chapter, this part, is kind of challenging and it has some mathy concepts associated with it. So take it slow, ask me questions, give me a call, drop me an email, and we'll get through this together. Now, up to this point, we've been working with price, and price is a demand-side concept. What am I willing to pay for goods and services at a specific time? Now we're going to start dealing with supply-side concepts, but first, we've got to make a few assumptions. Remember, assumptions are rules that we set up and then set in stone with the CP Ferry so that the models will be able to be examined without all the other noise and stuff. We have to make 4 assumptions about consumers on the demand side before we start looking at how suppliers will meet those demands. The 4 assumptions: that consumers are rational. They act in their rational self-interest, RSI, so they get what they feel is most out of what they're doing. This assumes the consumer has considered their actions beforehand. It also assumes that what is best for the consumer might not at first glance be what an expert would be considered best for that consumer. So it's what they feel is in their best interest as they perceive it. Second assumption is that consumers have unlimited wants. Given the opportunity, consumers would get the best and most of everything. I wouldn't drive a Forester, I'd drive myself an H3 Hummer. Given the opportunity, I'm betting that you would choose to go to Harvard rather than come here. Third assumption is that consumers have to incur costs in order to consume. Everything has a cost, both real and opportunity, and consumers have to bear the cost of that consumption. This is a concept called TANSTAFL. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Even if you go to Costco for the student lunch program, you go in, you have to pay a membership to get into the store in order to get the quote-unquote free samples. Finally, consumers have limited resources. We don't have everything we want to obtain the things that we need. Now, you might want to take 21 units of coursework in college so that you can get out of school faster, but your resources are limited. You don't have that much cash to spend on books, you don't have that much time to spend on study, and you probably don't have that much energy to do well in 21 units of classes, as well as do everything else that's in your life. Cost side. Cost is what is given up to obtain something else. It's not necessarily money-based. There are 2 broad types of costs involved in economics. The first type of cost is called explicit costs, or real costs, or accounting costs. 3 ways to say the same thing. This is the actual out-of-pocket outlay for goods and services, and that's easy to figure out. Keep your receipts, add them up, you know what your real costs are. The next is implicit costs, or opportunity costs. This is the cost of the next best option. What did you have to give up in order to get what you got? What's your time, effort, and energy worth? Now, total cost is a concept that, because of opportunity costs involved, is theoretical at best. We can save the receipts, but how do we determine the opportunity cost? Think back to my vacation in LA. Each person decides the opportunity cost for themselves, and this is going back to what we talked about just recently. People will act in their rational self-interest. They will take actions that they perceive to be in their best interest at the time. Subjectively, RSI decisions have low opportunity cost because you're doing something that will ultimately benefit you down the road, like taking college classes. Coming full circle, the whole concept of supply and demand and markets and RSI and elasticity, all of these things are leading to the ultimate end result, making a profit in business. Getting back to the donut shop. Now, my donut shop is expensive. I had to put a lot of the factors of production into the mix. Land. Where is my shop going to be located? Labor. Who works there? How many people work there? What are the hours of people that work there? Am I open on Sundays? Capital. I need machines, display cases, washing machines, chairs, stuff like that. I also need financial capital, the money and cash to buy these things to run the shop. And finally, management and entrepreneurship. Somebody, me, had to have the good idea to make it go. My real costs in the shop are those which I have to outlay. I know exactly how much I'm spending to make donuts. I know how much the rainbow sprinkles are. I know how much the flour and sugar are. I know how much I'm paying in interest to the bank loans. And I'm paying more than minimum wage to my employees because I'm one heck of a nice guy. But opportunity costs are those costs that are kind of harder to quantify. How much did it cost to put the elbow grease into designing the shop? I had to work 18-hour days in the beginning as I had to train and bring my staff up to speed. And I had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to turn the alarm system off because I had people who were being stupid in my store. How do I figure the costs of those things?